Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm here with my special guest, BatJac J.W. And we're going to be talking some more about 1911's.
That's right. I love 1911s, and any day to talk about 1911s is a good day.
Yeah, we got a little bit of everything on the table today, from the old to the new, from everything from World War II vintage all the way up to
up to
latest and
basically
greatest.
something like a Dan Wesson Valor right here, which is a really nice custom gun. That's really nice.
Yeah, I actually carry that one quite often. It is
Yeah.
an excellent shooter. It's a little more on the high end than some of the other 1911s, but now it's not exactly a custom, but it is considered a semi-custom.
Yeah, it definitely is up there. I put it up there because we also got stuff that you don't necessarily have to spend the kind of money for something as nice as the Dan Wesson. We also got something here that I really enjoy, actually, and really is kind of a new acquirement here, is the TSOS 1911 here. And this one's pretty cool.
A lot of the 1911s that are being imported are actually really good, because it isn't like the old days. Today they're manufacturing them on CNC machinery, which is computer controlled machines.
Right.
And the tolerances are actually as good or better than a lot of the higher end stuff.
It's pretty good. I mean, you're talking anywhere to, I guess it maybe almost would matter of demographics and where you're at, but this right here can range anywhere from $350 to $400.
Yeah, I mean, it's not exactly, people confuse cheap with inexpensive. It's not the same thing.
Yeah.
Just because it's a little less expensive doesn't mean it's not a quality product.
I absolutely have been enjoying this a lot because I think the quality, the fit and finish, the slide, the frame, everything is great. And of course, it's chambered in my new favorite caliber in 1911s. And I think, yeah, I'm going to go there, and I might even get thrown out of the 1911 club for this.
No, I'll admit, back in the day, I was a little bit biased towards any caliber other than 45 and
Right.
a 1911. But that's what I cut my teeth on back in the day.
Right.
But now things have come along, and I've actually started to slowly cross over the fence and have to admit that the 9mm is actually a pretty good choice in the 1911s, and especially with the variances we have to choose from today. And it shoots great.
Yeah, and one thing I will add, I mean, with risk of sounding like a fanboy, but a real big one for me when it came down to these is the magazines. Absolutely. I'm a big fan of the Wilson Combat magazines.
Absolutely.
For the 9mm, because this just absolutely works. I know that's a real common problem with them. You get other magazines that are perhaps maybe inferior or whatever, and they start choking and puking, right, and it's not working. And I've not found that with the Wilsons, and I definitely believe, and they are just sturdy, strong mags.
Well, the old adage is you get what you pay for does apply to magazines, because your gun is only going to be as reliable as the magazine you stick in it.
That's, yeah.
If you've got a $3,000 gun and a $2 magazine,
right.
What do you got? You got a $2 worth of whatever you paid for that.
Totally agree. Like this one here, which is my new personal favorite, really, is the Springfield Armory Ronin. And since we've done this video last, or one like this, I had recently acquired this one. And this is the Ronin by Springfield Armory. It's a Commander variant, and it's a lightweight frame. So you got the alloy frame and everything. It's in 9mm. And I tell you, when I first got it, that first thing I did was I just left the original factory mags that it came with in the box, and of course running the Wilsons, and I've just had nothing but good luck with this pistol. And for an MSRP at $799 or $749 with this thing, you really can't beat it. This is such a phenomenal gun. I think that Springfield Armory really hit a home run with this thing.
Yeah, no, it does have an alloy frame, and guys that want to cut the weight down a little bit for a carry gun, then this actually does weigh a few ounces lighter than a standard 1911 Commander size.
Here you got this is a standard Combat Commander by Colt here, and this one is in 9mm, but it's an all steel frame, and you can feel the weight difference.
Oh yeah, it's noticeable.
Yeah.
Now on the other end of the spectrum, I know that you're favoring 9mm these days. But I'm starting to really, really starting to like the 10 millimeter.
Yeah.
Now this is a Dan Wesson Razorback, which is not exactly inexpensive, but it is my favorite 10 millimeter handgun. It's accurate, it's reliable, and it has a lot of punch. And it's also actually, I've used this as a hunting handgun. And it's got plenty enough power to take down medium-sized game. And I'm really becoming a fan of 10 millimeter in general, or not becoming, I definitely am a 10 millimeter fan. And this is just one of my favorites, and it happens to be 1911.
And over on Icarryone's channel here, you have a lot of really good videos of that particular firearm right there, and doing some really pretty fantastic shooting with that.
It's surprisingly accurate. I know that I consider myself an average shot. Some guys say that, well, I might.
I think you're a little bit above average.
But
you shoot fast, and I've shot with you.
Well, the 10 millimeter is a good flat shooting round and ranges out past 30, 40, and 50 yards. It's still got plenty of punch. And I really, like I said, I can't say it enough, I've really become a big fan of 10 millimeter, and even a bigger fan of a decently built 10 millimeter handgun in a 1911 platform.
And I actually had really the privilege to be able to go out there and shoot that with you. And for a 10 millimeter, I was actually surprised how really smooth it shot.
Well, being that it's an all steel gun, it does have some heft. And compared to some of the polymer guns you're going to pick up that are chambered for 10 millimeter, you're going to notice they're a little bit snappier because they are lighter weight.
Right.
That all steel handgun does absorb a good bit of the recoil.
Yeah.
And you're going to actually notice quite a bit less muzzle whip than you are in your average polymer handgun.
Right.
But that's just the nature of the beast, because steel is going to actually absorb that recoil a little bit better than polymer.
Right. And like for me, I've kind of gravitated more like along the lines really of, I really love the Commander variant in 9mm. That's kind of become my personal favorite, really, especially, you know, like this lightweight one, because it is lighter weight, and I think just the Commander variant really does make that much of a difference.
Right, but you know, when it comes to price and cost, you know, it's to each individual on what you can afford, really. And most of the 1911 platforms you'll find on the market today are all actually pretty good shooters.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to find the really junky stuff anymore, because people just didn't buy it, and I think they've wised up over the years, and they've learned to use ramp barrels and 9mm.
Yeah, yeah. Which the Ronin does have a ramped barrel. So does like your Dan Wesson here, and even in this Tasas, this U.S. Army replica Tasas is in 9mm, and it has a ramp barrel.
Yeah, even with less expensive handguns, they're going with a little bit different style and actually making them a whole lot more reliable than they used to be.
Absolutely. Now, not to sit here and discredit the old Colt 45, because I think you and I both know, and you've got a classic example there in front of you.
Yeah, this World War II issue is no slouch. It never has been. The U.S. government kept it for a lot of years for a reason, because it actually was a performer, and it got the job done, and had plenty enough power to take a potential target down.
And I mean, that one there we've actually shot, and that is 1942 manufactured Colt.
Yeah, it is definitely wartime era handgun, and it's all original, including the keys grips.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you're looking for the real deal and to find some authentic war iron, these are very collectible.
Yeah, they have come collectible, haven't they?
Yeah, they have, especially in recent years. That, I guess it's like anything else. Over the years, the availability of things seem to fall off until at some point they become impossible to find.
Yeah.
And the ones that are still remaining, the price goes up exponentially.
Yeah.
And what you would have paid for X amount of dollars so many years, say 20 years ago, they've tripled in price, if not more, depending on the particular one you're looking for. But yeah, they can become very, very collectible.
Yeah. And like my personal favorite, if you're going to go into the 045, would be the Colt Mark IV Series 70.
Yeah.
I think this is just classic. It's got all of the features I personally like, because I'm weird. I like the short trigger and the arch mainspring
Right.
housing. And these are just awesome. And these have become collectible. This one here is vintage 1975, large letter, meaning that the stampings on this side where it says Colt's government model is a large letter, 70 number prefix serial number, which dates it back. And it's got its correct collet barrel bushing, which has got the
Right.
fingers on it, which made it, that's what made it a Series 70.
That, and it doesn't have the
Firing pin block.
firing pin block.
In fact, I don't think we have one on here that has one.
I personally prefer 70 series
Right.
built, whether they be new or an original,
Yeah.
because I found it to be true that the triggers are better right out of the box on a 70 series.
They
handgun.
are. They definitely are. And I would say to those of you who are out there, if you're looking at some of these and going to spend some money on them, be it at a gun show or whatnot, sometimes it's important, especially if you're looking at like one of these, to make sure that you got the original grips and the collet barrel bushing, because those things can actually cost some money to replace if you're looking
Right. If you're looking for one
Yeah.
to be authentic and period correct, that's the things you would look for,
Yeah.
because that's what came on them when they were originally built, and that's what you want to have on it if you're going to collect it or even have a decent shooter out of it. It's you want one to be as authentic as possible.
And
That's my take.
right. And as you've seen, because you've lived it, you've seen the guys that took these guns and would alter them and do changes to them.
I'm as guilty of that as the
Right.
next guy, and I actually have some regrets in doing that. That there was some of these older guns,
Right.
such as
That's
like
the gold
this.
cup right there.
Take one of these gold cups and then bash it and start changing up things on it, and actually you can modify any gun, and particularly a 1911, until it's no longer viable to shoot.
Right.
I mean, they don't need a lot. A little cleaning up and a little polishing is usually
It's about
as far
it.
as you want to go. But a lot of guys back then would take off
The grip safety.
the grip safeties and go to a flat mainspring housing, and then really, go to gouging in and make the,
Lowering the
lowering. Yeah. But the more you modify them, the more you're taking chances on it'll eventually fail. Mm-hmm. And once it does, it's over.
yeah.
You've modified it past the point of reliability, and what's the point?
Right. And it is, and it, for me, like I'm a collector, and it gets harder to find guns like that have not been altered or hacked up or changed dramatically for stuff.
Well, that's why they command a premium price, to find the unaltered,
Right. Especially
the
if it's-
unaltered models,
yeah,
because there's a lot of guys have taken
like
these,
something like that.
these World War II issues, and they've really bashed them hard. They've changed the finish and just sanded them down, took the patina off there, to me, which is part of the collectability,
Right.
and actually just ruined them.
And now, one thing that I've actually talked about a lot, and I get obsessed with, is now that particular one you have in your hands, it's got an interesting finish on it. That's kind of a green kind of color to it.
Yeah, age will kind of do that to them, because of, I don't know if it's the natural the environment or whatever, but they will lighten to that green color that actually is about a third of a shade lighter than the originals when it came out
Right.
of the box.
Because it certainly isn't like this beautiful commercial gun that they did in 1930. You can see the finish on this is just
You got that nicely rich
Yeah.
blue that was commercially popular. That's why they call it a commercial.
yeah.
But you see a lot of the guns that were manufactured back in the 60s, 70s, and
Mm-hmm.
80s, that was a preferred finish a lot. And I mean, there is some truth to the fact that stainless took off
yeah.
after a while.
I mean, you can just see the finish of a gun can change the appearance dramatically.
Right. It can. Now, I do favor the stainless guns for carry guns,
Yeah.
and the ones I'm going to use a lot, because the stainless, well, there is no finish.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it is what it is. They just polish it out. If you get a scratch, you polish it out, and you're good to go again. but it's a little bit harder to do with one of those richly blued finishes.
Right. Yeah. And one thing that I started doing, like it's on this gun here, is another government model Series 70 Mark IV, is I started manufacturing these grips and making the replica of the retro grips that were probably more predominant during the 50s. That phenolic kind of resin type grips that they were punching out in that orange kind of brown color. And I started doing it. And by the way, you know, with a shameless plug is thank you to all of you that visited the eBay channel and actually purchased my grips. I do thank you for that. But I mostly wanted to just kind of get those back out because I personally like it. It's retro. I like that.
Yeah. But some of the other ones you were making, I'll just go ahead and give you another shameless plug.
Okay. Oh, that's right.
These particular grips were also made by BatJac J.W.
I forgot about that myself.
And these are actually they're bone.
Yeah, that's actually I started making with bone, mixed in with the composite.
Right, and they don't feel plasticky at all.
No.
They actually feel like ivory or bone. And it has an excellent warmish feel to it. But they're unique and they're made by my good friend. So they're going to stay on there.
Yeah. So again, like even though I the beloved, 45 auto in the 1911 is always going to be near and dear to me, but I really have kind of gravitated and I've really just been enjoying the 1911 and 9mm, such as the sauce that I can't believe for $400. It runs the way it does, the reliability, the accuracy, the quality, the fit and finish, and it's a replica of the old Warhorse there because you can see they kind of...
It's a very close facsimile of it.
They got the finish really well done on it and everything, and it does shoot really well. And it's kind of neat because I didn't realize it at the time when I bought this, that it's kind of harder to find the 9mm variant in this particular one, the Sauce U.S. Army model. It's actually hard
by
to
far.
find.
I mean, it still is the thing that when most people see a 1911, the assumption is going to be that it is in 45 ACP.
Right.
But anymore, I mean, you've got your caliber choices, quite a few different calibers, everything from 9mm up to 10 and beyond.
10, yeah. Yeah. I've seen some chambered in 45 or 40. I'm sorry,
40 cal.
Yeah,
they're actually some of them out there.
Yeah.
And I know guys that have them and like them.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So really, the 1911 in its original chambering is actually, it's come a long way as far as different choices that a guy has in a 1911 platform these days. It's actually kind of exciting to see go out there and see what all is out there and see what's for sale these days.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. And I can't help but think, like, when I see something like this really cool Colt Combat Commander 9, makes me remind me of the movie Extreme Prejudice with Nick Nolte, because this is what he actually carries in it, and he modeled his entire character in the movie after Ranger Jackson, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, well, insofar as that goes, I guess basically we just wanted to sit down and do a little chat about 1911s.
Bring them all back out.
Well, some of them back out.
Yeah, right.
But what we did bring out today is a pretty good across-the-board representation of what's out there.
Absolutely, absolutely, and kind of to share, some of our personal favorites and everything. And I definitely would have to say the Commander in 9mm.
Yes, I agree. It's 9mm in a Commander size 1911 to me is the way to go. I mean, I have a full-size 1911 in 9mm. But the one I carry is the Commander size.
Yeah, absolutely. And people don't, and make no, they kind of misunderstand it. It's the same grip and the same frame as a full-size government model.
Right.
It's just the slide end of barrel is slightly
shorter.
Yeah.
And makes it a little easier to conceal.
It really does. And especially when you got a lightweight alloy frame like this one, it does make it even easier. But this one it does have that bob tail on it.
Right. That is a concealed carry situation with those, is that the bob kind of keeps them, depending on the way you carry, it keeps them from digging into your hide.
Yeah.
Say as a square button might under certain circumstances. They're just a convenience to make them a little more carryable.
Yeah, absolutely. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out with us and just looking at some beautiful 1911s and stuff. And you can tell we're a couple of 1911 guys.
Yes.
So appreciate you checking us out and everything. And thanks for coming along.
Oh, yeah. And anyway,
We'll catch you next time. And thanks for stopping by.
that's my line.
That is your line. I just decided to take it.
I noticed.
Yeah.